Your personal brand is your legacy. It's your reputation. It's what you're going to be remembered for. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name's Careeta 𝙿𝙪𝙧, and I'm the executive coach and leadership coach for Born with a Gift. And this is another episode of Conversations with Careeta, where we dance in conversation about all things to do with careers and personal development. Firstly, I want to say thank you to everybody joining today. I am so excited to be here. If you're here watching me live, just drop in hello, say your name so I could see you, because LinkedIn does some strange stuff where you can't see the name. I'm also going to check in on the second device here as well, just to make sure that we are live and kicking. And let me make sure that volume is off. Yeah, we are live. Awesome, awesome. So if you're watching live, just drop your name, say hello, where you're calling, where you're watching from. And if you're watching on the replay, then just drop a hashtag replay. I'm so excited to be back here again live. And again, this is another session. If you've been following for a while, you'll know that every week on my page, I do a Monday message and a theme of the week. And this week is all about personal branding, because I don't know if you have been following, like, just in general, that right now there's a lot of talk about AI and people are using ChatGPT and doing lots of things with AI, so that most of the time when you see things, it looks like everybody else. So to really stand out in the world nowadays, your personal brand is going to be something that's so important to have as a way of people recognizing who you are and what you stand for. So if you're following and you're really keen to learn more about personal branding, just follow along. And if you've got any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Let me get the chat box open, making sure that I can see the chats as well. And yeah, I'll do some Q&As in here, because I've been getting a lot of emails and questions about, for example, LinkedIn. And thank you to the LinkedIn team and the creators that I've met recently on the program. It's been amazing. I've learned a lot of stuff about how to really fully utilize LinkedIn behind the scenes. And I've been getting a lot of questions in my DMs about questions and advice. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to do a live. So if you do have a question, feel free to ask on this live, because I'm not going to be asking loads of individual replies. It will be easier to just do it all in one space. So brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Let's get started. And I'm using my new fancy slides as a way of just helping to break it up as well. So tip number 1 is to identify your unique gifts and strengths. We're living in a social media era where most of your day you're going to be scrolling through social media, whether it be LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, whatever you use. You're more likely to be sitting down and looking at other people online. Now, what that does is it takes you away from focusing on yourself. Now, I'm always talking about, what are your gifts? What's your strengths? What is your key areas that you can use to stand out? And I focus on that with personal branding, because that's really what people are going to be looking for. They're going to be looking for your unique traits. What makes you you? What is it about other people that you admire in them? It's usually their ability to be able to own their power through owning their gifts. So the first tip is to identify, what are your gifts? A lot of people try and convince me that they don't have any skills or talents and gifts, but often your gifts can be overlooked. And it's just taking the time out to think, what is it about me that I can use to share my personal brand with the world? Some people are good at, for example, really good at numbers or listening, or even art, singing, dancing. Those are the obvious ones. But what is your gift? What is it that is unique about you? Because the more clarity you have around your own gifts and your skills and your talents that make you you, is the easier it is for you to be able to use them to form your personal brand. So remember, if you're watching on the replay, just drop hashtag replay, still put in your questions, and I'll come in and I'll have a look as well. So the first tip is to identify your skills and your talents. That's a great way. And hello to everybody who's just joined us on the live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So excited to have you here. The second is to craft your brand message. So once you're really clear on what it is that is your skills and your gifts, identifying a way that you could share that in a brand message is a powerful way for people to know who you are and what you do. Because personal branding is all about what people say about you when you're not in a room. And it's intentional. There's a way that you can intentionally manage this. And there's ways that you are not actually aware that you have that personal brand already, but it's just not managed. So I invite you to really take a moment to start to think about, well, what is my personal brand right now? What do people say about me when I'm not in the room? Are you somebody who's always late? Do you say you're going to be there at 2 and you end up there at 4? Believe it or not, that is your personal brand. They'll be like, oh gosh, got to give them a time that's an hour before or 2 hours before because they're going to be late. They're going to be late. They're always late. They don't tell us they're going to be late. They're always late. Or are you somebody that turns up really, really early? Because all of these things, they start to impact your personal brand. It's what people are going to say about you when you're not in the room. Can they trust your words? Are you somebody who always says yes to things and then you cancel and then they can't rely on you for anything? Or are you somebody who you say you're going to turn up and then you turn up? Like, these things matter. And I think often those bits of your personal brand and who you're being in the world can become overlooked. Because if you think of who you would recommend for a job or for a business, for a new job or for a business venture, you're thinking about those people who are reliable, who show up consistently, and you know what they are about. And these are the things that are really focused on who you are being in the world. Because when I talk about personal branding, I know it's easy to think about the colors and the fonts, but it is all about who you're being as a person. And without investing that time to think about who you are being in the world, it is more challenging for you to start to think about your personal branding. So crafting your brand message is another important area. And that all starts with identifying who you're being in the world. Like, what are your values? What are your strengths? Who do you turn up late all the time? Are you on time? Like, what is it? This is about doing a full audit of who you are so you can become clearer on your personal brands. Because I'm very focused on building that personal brand from the inside out, because that's where it starts. You start with the inside and then you work your way to the outside. So if I do any personal brand work, which I do with my clients, it is mainly focused about what we do internally, and then that then trickles out into the external world. So crafting your brand messages, what do you want to be known for? So think of somebody like, for example, my message is, we are all born with a gift. And we all have special skills, talents, and gifts that we can use to be successful. And now's the time to unwrap your gifts. That is my brand message. And that's what I do in my business. It's what I do in my normal life. I'm always about empowering people to unwrap their gifts so they can step into their power. Now, when you become clear and you do the work, it becomes easier to be able to craft that brand message. And it is applicable to you if you are looking for a new job, or if you have a business and you're working in your career, because it forms your personal brand no matter what. And as I said in the beginning, it's becoming more important to start to think about how you stand out in an AI world, because there's people are starting to look the same across the board, with the same, when you embark on a new journey or a new mission, like all the copy you see nowadays sounds very similar. So really understanding what your personal brand is and who you are being in the world is something that's going to be able to set you apart from other people. And the third tip is aligning your personal brand with your values. Look, listen, this is the thing with live. When you do live, it's amazing because, and this is one of the things, I didn't do lives for a very long time because I wanted everything to be perfect. And I realized that in life, nothing's really perfect. You just got to go with the flow. And these are booster sessions based on my theme of the week. They're not full on training. Because when I do full on training, we get in more detail, we take longer, we do more reflections. But I know on LinkedIn and across some of the other platforms, people are really busy. So these are tasters and boosters. And I have tools that you can use to go into a bit more depth if you want to find out more information and apply it more in a unique way to you. But in terms of the third tip was to align your personal brand with your values. So really understanding, what are your values? What are your values? For example, integrity, respect, gratitude. What is it that are your values? And are they in alignment with who you say you are being in the world? Because when you are clear on your values and you take the actions that are aligned to those values, that's how you start to really show who you are. And your personal brand becomes something that's trustworthy. And people will trust that you say you're going to do something and you do it. So your reputation is what people are saying about you when you're not in a room. Now, it's important to be focused on intentionally managing your reputation, because it can be gone in an instant. And I know we're seeing lots of cases where people have spent years of building up a personal brand, and then something happens, and then all of a sudden that personal brand is destroyed. So being intentional in building your personal brand and keeping it authentic in an alignment with your values along the way is super, super important. Now, I got a question recently about, how do you build your personal brand? And these 3 tips that I provided are just starters for you to start that journey on your personal brand journey. Because social media, for example, if you look at your social media platforms, whether it be LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you're present online, is that a reflection of who you say you are right now? Now, I'm saying that who you're saying you are right now, because what we do is we create these social media profiles, maybe when we were teenagers or mid in your adult life, but are they a reflection of who you say you are right now? Because when someone meets you nowadays, the first thing they're going to do is probably Google your name or check you out on LinkedIn. And if what they see online is not in an alignment with who you say you are, it's going to build a bit of a disconnect. So looking back at your old social media profiles, even if you don't use Facebook or LinkedIn anymore, check them out. Are you still called bad boy number 2 or hot girl number 9? Like, what is your profile saying about you? Getting really clear on that, and then changing it so it's in alignment with who you say you are right now. So I think let's just have a double check, because I think I had another question as well about LinkedIn, and there's so much to cover on LinkedIn. I'll do some posts next week about it. But again, when I think about LinkedIn, it's about building connections and building relationships with people and being true to who I am and my message. And that comes by just being my authentic self, not copying other people and trying to be them. I am true to who I am, and it either attracts people or it repels people. And you only get that clarity by investing time to get to know who you are. Because once you know who you are, you can then create who you want to be in the world. And that comes with deep personal development work, taking time out through, whether it's, you could start off with podcasts, YouTube videos as a high level, just starting to start that personal development journey. But then when you really want that customized one-to-one, well, who am I and who do I want to be in the world? That's where having a coach to work with you to start to work out your strengths, your weaknesses, your development areas. What are your values? How do you find them? And then how do you start to create who you want to be in the world? And that is the work that I do with my one-to-one clients. When we work on a one-to-one basis, it's more about getting that personalized and focused review of who you are right now, and then starting to shape out how you can enhance and upgrade so you can work out what you want your personal brand to be moving forwards, whether it's for your career or for your business. And I have tools and resources that can help you get started on that journey, with the links in my featured section if you wanted more information. But if you do want to, for example, jump on a call and find out more about what it's like to work with me one-to-one, then just drop me a DM and say personal brand, and then I'll know you watched this live to the end. So feel free to just drop me a DM if you have any more questions about this. I'm going to do another theme of the week next week as well. So look out for that. It's going to be linked to this whole personal brand theme and self-promotion. because I feel like there's a lot of questions in that area at the moment, and it's important to just start to look at it in terms of how can you stand out and be positioned as a thought leader, or some people don't like that word, but stand out in your industry as a go-to person. So thank you so much to everybody who watched today. I have enjoyed this live and I hope you have too. And I hope you all have a good weekend, because I know some of you are probably winding down, thinking of the weekend activities now. What can you do? And this time, let me know if you like this time or a later or earlier time as well in the week. But have a good day, and I hope to hear from all of you very, very soon. And remember, we are all born with a gift, and we all have special skills, talents, and gifts that we can use to be successful. And now's the time to unwrap your gifts. Have an amazing day and see you soon. Bye.